Times I felt absolute bliss. And put in the comments when you felt absolute bliss too, would you? I'm curious to and think about it. Just think about it for a sec. Turn the TV off. Turn the whatever YouTube off. Just think. When did you feel absolute bliss? One of the most important videos I've ever listened to was my man just right now, Matt McKinley, Quantum of Conscience. And I'll link to the video. It was breathtaking and important tense. And it's breathtaking. It's just no other way around it. And I hope there's not a lot of background noise. I'm driving to go see my mom up in Shenandoah Valley. And he talked about a couple times when he felt absolute bliss. And he encouraged his listeners to think about when you did too. And think about it. And I did. And so I was kind of going through my litany of stuff. And Matt gave an example of like when he graduated from Penn State. He was at Penn State, whatever. He was 6th in his high school. So he's, high honors at Penn State, all A's and whatnot. He said he got done on a Wednesday and everyone else was getting done on a Friday. So he had some downtime. So he just finished his last exam at Penn State, and he went to his one of his dorm mates' rooms, and this is for some reason the only guy who could have a TV because he's able to get Matt's my age, 53. He's able to get the rabbit ears to work, and so he's just watching some reruns of Cosby Show or something like that, and just everyone else is running around like I gotta do this, I gotta do that, in preparation for their exams, and he was done. He said, man, I just felt like I had no responsibility, nothing. There's nothing to do, and it felt great. And that got me to thinking. I said, when did I have that? A couple times I'll point out to you. So one was when I was a kid. I just remember at Peak Sound High School, the bell rang for the end of either 4th or 5th grade. I can't remember what it was. But I remember just absolute bliss for the end of the school year. It was a beautiful late spring day, late spring day. Peak Sound, like a cobalt blue sky. The sun was just blazing yellow, and I'll never forget that. It just coming out and just like, it's over. There's nothing to do for 3 months. It was over. There's no homework. There's no crazy teachers. It must have been 4th grade. Maybe it's 5th grade. I don't think it's 5th grade because the 5th grade, between 5th and 6th grade, we had to change schools, so we had to start going into Portland for school, and I know I was nervous for that because you had to get on the boat to go into school, and on Peaks, that would have made me nervous. Like, this is it. That would have been pretty nervous at the end of 5th grade because my life as a Peaks Island student was over then because we'd have to start going to Portland. So I know I inherently had some nervousness about that. But because Portland's a big city, it's the biggest city in Maine by far, and we lived on an island of 400 people in the wintertime. So Portland was a big city, and we're going to the big city for school. So it must have been at the end of 4th grade. So, I'll never forget that, man. Just walking out, just breathing. It was just like, happened for a moment in time. And you didn't have to worry about the cold. Didn't have to worry about anything. It was blissful. I can't even describe it. So the next time living on the island, there's a couple times that come to mind. I don't remember specifically, but just being on the beach with Doggy as my dog, like at 5:36 in the morning in the summertime, when before when sunrise, it just sitting on the beach as my dog, just looking out over the if you look out east, you're literally looking towards France, believe it or not, because that's the same horizontal line as Maine is based on. I think it's either on southern France, so you're looking out there and just sitting on the beach with my dog. No one, other than the lobster people, no one else is up. I was just freaking blissful. But that happened, a bunch. I don't remember anything specifically. I just remember the kind of my state of consciousness at that. The second time that jumps out at me though is when when I was in the Army. We had just moved to the new barracks, so we were in the old World War II barracks. We had moved into the new barracks, and we had been there for about 6 months. And by this time, I was getting closer to ETSing, enlistment terminated status. And so we'd basically only been in the new barracks for a little bit, and it was pretty cool because it we all had our own showers. Every 2 rooms had his own shower. You know what I'm saying? So it was me and this guy. I forgot the guy's name. Kino, I think, was my roommate. and next to us was two black guys named Sherrard and Marino or Barino or something like that. So we had to share like a shower, and they had a sink, we had a sink. But other than that, it was just like we had your own room. It was kind of cool. And me and this guy Keno was kind of a clown, but he was all right. He was just kind of lazy. Anyway, and he actually, I'm sure he was smoking a lot of dope, but I don't know that for sure. So if Keno was watching, I don't know, but it seemed like he was a dope smoker. Even in the Army, yeah, you'd be shocked how many people still smoke dope in the Army, man. It's crazy. Anyway, if they catch you, you're done. That was a risk. If they catch you, they do piss tests, and if you got caught, you're out. But they didn't catch many people, almost probably by deliberation, to be perfectly honest with you. But if they want you out, well, badly enough, they get you out. Lake Norman. Anyway, so he, so anyway, long story short. So I had like 3 weeks left to ETS. This is in January of 1992. And my unit was deploying to Fort Bragg. How dare I call it Fort Bragg? Don't you know? So I don't even know what Fort Bragg's called now. Fort Big Mike? I don't know. Big Mike Obama? But anyway, I was able to talk my platoon sergeant into allowing me to stay back in the rear so I didn't have to deploy. I forgot his name, but God bless you, sir. And it wasn't Filipino. He might have been, I don't think he was Guam, but he was definitely like some, island guy, just hardcore guy, but he was a great guy. I liked him a lot. I said, look, whatever his name was, Joe, and we didn't call him Joe, we call him Sergeant Smith. I said, look, I'm getting out in 3 weeks. Do we really need me to deploy to Fort Bragg for 2 weeks of those 3? I mean, I got to clean my gear and all that. Come on, man. Do I really need to get out? And he was able to, I don't know how he did it, but he was able to, and then I said, look, and I feigned like maybe I hurt my knee or something, I can't remember. And he was able to get me not to deploy. So I was able to stay back in the rear with all the other broke dicks. There weren't many. 5 in our whole freaking company we stayed back for 2 weeks of just nothing but we had to do remote we had to do duty. We had to scrub the floors and all that stuff, grunt work, shine the whole thing, whatever it's called, where you whatever it's called on the floors to shine them up and all that. We had a bunch of stupid stuff, a lot of police calls, pick up cigarette butts. But, we could show up kind of when we show up. We get off, basically the guy who's left back in charge of the battalion, he just said, all right, you're done for the day, essentially. And it was me and this guy, Gutierrez. I'll never forget, Gutierrez. And it's like the only 2 guys in our company that were basically broke dicks. And I remember we would always go to the PX and get some beers, and we'd watch Olympic, because the Olympics were on. We'd watch Olympic hockey. And Gutierrez didn't know anything about hockey. I did. So we'd go to his room because he had cable, and we'd just watch and just watch Olympic hockey while we're drinking beer, like 3 o'clock or something like that. And and I forgot where the Olympics were in 1992, but it was like great. It was like no responsibility. Oh my goodness. So we got done of our basic stuff we had to do, and then we just go get some beers at the PX. We'd go watch Olympics, in our barracks, and we'd go to the chow, eat some chow, come back and watch some more, and then just go to our, I'd go to my room and, a little bit of a buzz and read books, or maybe that's when I was applying for George Mason. I don't even remember. I think I had already gotten into George Mason by then. So I knew I was getting out, and I knew I was going to school. I knew I was going to go to George Mason University. But I'll never forget, man, it was just pure bliss. Pure bliss. And then when the unit came back, I only had 1 week left, and that wasn't bliss. You would think it'd be blissful, but they knew I was a short timer, so no one cared, man. It's like, once they're, no one cared. I mean, basically all I was doing was clean a bunch of rifles for these guys because I had no responsibility. But I was at that stage when they came back. I only had a week left. I was basically yesterday's news, and that was kind of sucked. I'll never forget that. I remember literally no one cared. They're like, they're Scanlon. Broke dick. I wasn't a broke dick, and I was okay with that because I was getting out in a week anyway, so I had to clean. I just did a bunch of maintenance and stuff like that for rifles and whatnot, and other TA-50, I think is what we call their gear. But that whole 2 weeks was blissful. It was great. No responsibility, nothing. Just do what you got to do, drink some beers, and watch some U.S. Olympic hockey. It was fantastic. Of course, the day I separated from service, oh my goodness, dudes, I can't. My man Raul. No, Raul wasn't with me. Who was with me? I forgot, man. Oh, it's freaking Mugford. Mugford, that's who it was. I'm almost positive. When I went to sign for the last time at CQ, I forgot what the Charge of Quarters or something like that. I forgot what it's called, but the battalion. You got to sign your form that you're getting out of the Army. You returned everything and blah, blah, blah. And this is your last go around to say, hey, you're good on your contract, we're good on our contract, and we're done here. And I went to go sign that, and I got a picture. It wasn't Raul, because I drove Raul to Syracuse Airport when he got out. He sold his leave back, so he got out about a month before I did. I didn't sell my leave back. I sold my leave back, and I got, probably got $10,000 worth of unpaid leave. And I think Raul, he got out a month early. Instead of selling his unused leave back, they just let him get out a month early. I remember taking him down to Syracuse Airport. I actually cried when he left. I said, ooh, my life is starting to change. It's gonna be different now. It wasn't like a ball. It's just like, ooh, this is, going into a new phase here. I'm getting out too. Anyway, so I'll never forget signing that. I got a picture of it in my someplace back there. And I still have my, BDUs on everything. And I'll never forget, signing out. And then I went back to my barracks, my room with Keno. I think his name's Keno. But anyway, but no one cared. But so the Bliss was short-lived right then. Then you go back, they're all doing what they're doing. I forgot what they're doing. My platoon was doing, and then I changed into my civvies. I had everything in my duffel bag, changed my civvies, and I just left. And it was weird walking out of the barracks because literally people said, all right, see you, Scanlon, good luck to you, man. But no one oh, Scanlon. It was weird, man. That's when I started to realize that everyone cares about themselves and themselves only. I mean, it's okay. I care about myself and myself only, other than my kids, of course, and my wife. But I'll never forget that. I thought I had this whole, Scanlon, we're going to miss you. No one cared. They're like, all right. It was weird, man. And, I had friends, but I was yesterday's news, man. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't part of the team anymore. And when you're not part of the team, you're going on your own way. People just don't care. Trust me, when you when you quit your job, you're going to think all these people are going to be like, oh, man. And they'll say, hey, where are you going? They'll say, oh, man, I'm jealous. They'll say, good luck to you. But after you're gone, they don't remember you, dude. They don't remember you. You're just gone. I'll never forget that. When I left USAA, everyone's like, oh, man, good luck. I'm jealous, blah, 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 blah. And then, the next day later, oh, hey, Josh. And you can kind of tell, you text them or something like that. Oh, hey, Josh. Yeah, it's good to talk to you, but I got to get going. And you're like, oh, good. You're yesterday's news. That's why I was glad I never became, high-ranking, not that I ever would, but in the military. Because a lot of these guys get out of the military, colonels, generals, admirals, they think they're all that in a bag of chips. And they get all their awards. They get all their freaking pedigree. No one cares. It's weird, man. I mean, look, I used to deal with that USA. These guys would get out. I used to be a general. No one cares, dude. They don't care. I mean, they might say thanks for your service, but it's always, what can you do for me? It's just human nature. But anyway, so I get out. I get my duffel bag. I load up my little 1992 or 91 Mitsubishi Precis or Precise. I don't know what it's called. And I leave Fort Drum for the last time. Put it in literally in the rear view mirror. It was sad, but I'll never forget. I was right then. I was sad. I was because I was nervous. What's happening now? And then I get on 81 going south. Right, and I got all these stickers on my car, hardcore band bumper stickers and stuff. Sick of all, no for an answer, whatnot. And this chick comes up. And she looked pretty. She was a good-looking girl, and she just in her car, and she said pointed, because poor cell phones and all. She pointed at me, and said, "Tag, you're it." I didn't know what she was doing. She pointed at me, and anyway, so we started playing tag on 81, and I said, well, and I basically it was 4 cell phones, but I saw McDonald's because I was getting hungry, probably doing that. All the way down Binghamton or something like that. And so I put my, I got on over, so I got in front of her, and I put my thing on right here, my turn signal on, so I was gonna hit this McDonald's. And I didn't know if she's gonna follow me or not, but I said, I gotta get something to eat, or I gotta take a leak or something like that. And sure enough, we did. We ate lunch together in the McDonald's, and I'll never forget that. I don't know who the chick was, don't even know her name or anything, but she was good looking, and wasn't, friggin' Christy Brinkley good looking, but she was smoking hot, and it was cool. And I said, man, I'll never forget. And then she turned off someplace. I think she, was going towards New York, or I don't even remember, Philadelphia or something like that. She didn't make it through New York. I remember that state. But she went east, and I kept going south, to go back to Washington D.C. Well, Alexandria, Virginia, where my dad lived. I'll just never forget thinking, this Bliss, like right there. I'm in the car. I got money. I got a relatively new car. There's probably no more than 5,000 miles on it. A chick was just messing around with me a little bit. I said I had music. I think I was still smoking back then. Was I? No, I wasn't smoking back then. Anyway, and so the initial sadness of leaving Fort Drum wore off right there. I will never forget that, man. It was great. It was gone, and then just like I have ladies, I was like, I could talk. It was because remember I was in the infantry. There's no women in the infantry, man, and as such, you were kind of removed from the ladies for quite some time. I mean, you saw some. I had dates, I had girlfriends and stuff, kind of sort of when I was in the Army, but I had a pretty close one my last year. I actually liked her a lot. Was she hot as the day is long? Probably not, but for a young infantry soldier, for a local girl, she was good, and she was nice, and we had fun together, if you know what I'm saying. But anyway, but I'll never forget that, just going down 81 saying, this is the future. It's going to be great, blissful, you know what I'm saying? There's no responsibility, no worries, nothing. And the irony of it all is, it was in February, in May, my first roommate from the Army, a guy named Shoemaker, got married in Rochester, New York. I think it was Rochester, yeah. The irony of it all is he got married in Rochester, New York. And I went to his wedding, and I'll never forget, by then I had like $300 in credit card debt. And I had burned through all my money, you know what I'm saying? And I can't remember if I was already working at UPS or not, but I had a debt on a credit card. And I'll never forget going into a McDonald's, coming back up 81, and sitting there saying, I don't have any cash, I got to pay for a credit card. I said, man, and then having a hotel room. So basically, when I got back from seeing his wedding in Rochester, I had like $500 on my credit card. I was like, how the hell am I going to, I was like, how am I going to pay this off? I mean, I was making money. I knew I was going to pay it off. I was like, how much interest is it? And it was just, the irony of it all is when I drove up there and drove back, I was not blissful. I already had the worries of modern society, you know what I'm saying, of how am I going to pay this back? I'm going to have to get a job and all that stuff. Now I'm stopping. We got bumper-to-bumper traffic here north of Lake Norman, whatever the hell that is, and I got a truck who wants to be in front of me and a truck on the side of me. Anyway, so what else? And then I'll remember too, all right, so then, my mom was living in Maine, and the last time I can truly remember bliss, in terms of bliss, like not a care in the world, no worries at all. All right, the last time, now I've told you about Chloe, when that God, through the Holy Spirit, spoke to me and said, it will be all right. I still had worries then. I wasn't blissful. I just knew that God was alive. I knew that for a fact at that point, and I still know for a fact. Now, who's God? I don't know. I believe the resurrected Jesus, God's only Son, 100%. You don't have to believe in that. You can believe whatever you want. For me, that's what I believe, that Jesus died and he rose again from the dead to open the gates of heaven for all those who believe and practice. You can't just believe, because Satan believes. Satan can quote Bible better than you can, or I can for sure. And Satan believes that Jesus is a risen again God. That's a fact. Or a risen again Son of God. That's just a fact. So just believing that Jesus is risen again and the Son of God, that's no. Faith not works. No, it's faith and works. That's just a fact. I default to James on that. Jesus is half brother. Anyway, so the other time I had bliss, and this is what Matt's video hit me like a ton of bricks. Literally brought me a little bit of tears while driving. So we lived in Washington, D.C. area, in Northern Virginia, in Alexandria, and I go see my mom on occasion up in Maine. She lived with this guy, her second husband. I don't know if even they were married by then, named Henry, up in Cape Elizabeth. And so you're driving from Washington, D.C. You're going through Baltimore. You're going for Philly. You're going on Jersey Turnpike. You're going on the George Washington Bridge. You're going through New York City, and then you're going through Southern Connecticut, I guess, whatever. And then you hit 84. I think it's 84. 81, 84, I can't remember. And that's when you start to know you're leaving you're starting to know that northern New England lay ahead. So you hit 84, it's 81 to 84, 84 to 81, I can't remember, right? And then you start to know, and then you start getting toward, I can't remember exactly where it was, maybe Sturbridge. Once you start breaking in Massachusetts, something like that. Maybe it's, no, I think it might be right after you get outside New York City, I think is what it is. I can't remember, but I remember there is a sign that says 95 north, Maine, New Hampshire, points north. And when you see that sign, yeah, because I think that's what it is. You see that sign because you've now gone north of New York City. You made it through all the crap towns, Baltimore, Philadelphia, New York City. And now you're starting to hit, again, not northern New England here, because Connecticut certainly isn't northern New England, but you're starting to hit the sign that points you to northern New England. And every time you see that sign, for me at least, I can't remember exactly where, maybe it's taking 495. I think it's you're on that, I can't remember. But there's a sign that maybe it's 495 because there's a bypass around Boston. Maybe it's when you start getting ready to hit Boston. Yeah, that might be what it is. Either way, you hit 81 to 84, 84 to 81, I can't remember. So you know you've gone beyond New York City now. And the stress of driving, because I've been stuck in New York City a couple of times, broken down cars and run out of gas. It just sucks, dude. Because New York sucks. No one wants to live in New York. But anyway, except for, I guess, immigrants that want to live there. Apparently they don't. They're moving back to Venezuela because New York is such a crap hole. But anyway, so when you're on 84 and 81, you're like relieved. You're like, all right, sweet, I'm in New England now. I'm back from home. But it's not until you see, I think it is 495. I think is what it is. I think you're on 84, 81, and then you hit Boston this way, 95, or 495, New Hampshire, Maine, all other points north. I think it's what it is. And when you see that sign, dudes, for me, it's just like blissful because you're like, man, there is no worries. I cannot explain it. It is like seeing that sign means you're going home for me. Every single time I saw that, like, oh. And I remember one time I got stuck in the Bronx, and it was before GPSs and stuff, and I can't remember why I got off I think Cross Bronx Expressway or something like that, and I was on or something, I can't remember. I just got done reading Bonfires of the Vanities, and I literally got stuck on Cross Bronx Expressway. I got off, whatever it is, I just remember the Cross Bronx Expressway was over me. I'm in the Bronx, and I'm like, it's like 2 in the morning, you know what I'm saying? I'm running low on gas or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but I was like, dude, this sucks donkey balls. I said, this isn't good. And I was like, man, I can't remember what happened. I'm sure I was low on gas. Because I'm, kind of getting low here. I got a quarter tank. Usually I don't like to get below a quarter tank. But I remember, like, anyway, finally got out and escaped from New York. I finally get on where I saw that points north sign. Now 495, Maine, New Hampshire, points north. And you go, just a relief. Everything, all your worries, all your fears, all your just headaches just go away for that split second. Dude, it is, I cannot express the feeling of bliss that is. And I'm gonna have to take another drive up to Maine. I'm gonna tell my wife when I get back. So I gotta drive up to Maine one time, because you don't get it just flying to Maine, man. It's not just the flight to Maine, and it doesn't do it. It's actually, now when I get back to Maine, I feel it to some degree. We fly to Portland International Airport, Jetport, whatever it's called. Dude, it's great. You're like, oh man, this is great because it's so small, it's so easy to negotiate. It's worth paying an extra couple of $100 for a plane ticket there. But it's not the same because, you gotta survive the stupid Atlanta airport, I grant you, but it's not the same as going through the, and on top of that, you've been driving for 5-6 hours. So you see that sign, all of a sudden you're like, I'm in Salisbury, North Carolina, wherever that is. All of a sudden there you're like, oh, I made it. I made it to New England, to northern New England. It has that complete feeling of blissfulness. It's crazy. And so the point is, notice bliss isn't that you've made it in terms of, I got all this money for me now. It's just that everything, all the worries, everything up to this point are now gone for a moment. It's all simple stuff, getting out of school, finishing, getting out of the army, getting out of the drive, the back end of the drive from Washington D.C. to Maine. It's just like Thanksgiving is blissful too. I've always loved Thanksgiving because it's just nothing, no responsibilities, no requirements. Just eat your food and chill. Eat whatever the hell you want to eat. Take a nap. There's no fear of missing out. There's no I got to do something else. No, Thanksgiving is specifically the day to just freaking veg. That's why I love Thanksgiving. My favorite, by far and away, my favorite freaking holiday, by far and away. So I always hated New Year's Eve or even 4th of July. I hate the idea of I got to go party, I got to have fun, or 4th of July, I got to go to parade, and I don't like loud noises, and so fireworks always kind of scared me anyway. But I've never liked that. Well, we got to do this. Thanksgiving is the exact opposite. You don't have to do anything. You just celebrate with your family. And just literally, you wake up in the morning, you're like, I can do whatever the hell I want to do. Oh, it's great. That's blissful. So how do you get that? How do you get that bliss back? How do you get that bliss back? Well, it's obviously just the simple things. Now, when you have kids and stuff, you're always going to have a worry. You know what I'm saying? You'll always have a worry because you're worried about your children, man. That's no big deal. I mean, you can't avoid that. But maybe in retirement, for instance, the bliss comes from just saying, again, it's gratitude, but it's not just gratitude. It's like, I can just sit here and read a book. I can just sit here and veg. Instead of feeling like I got to move a mile a minute, I'm going to slow down. And this is the beauty of nature. You can't help but slow down. Actually, I'll tell you another blissful thing. This is crazy. And this is why this video by Matt was so important for me, because it made me think of all the blissful things I've had that I don't really say take it for granted, but I've forgotten about it, and it makes it so simple. When we moved to New Jersey, I had to take a train back and forth to Center City for Philadelphia, speed line. I loved it. Just walk to the train and walk back. And I'll never forget, we'd just been back to New Jersey. Just been back east, so we'd been living in Texas for a while, for 4 years. And I'll never forget one day, it was just the fall was here, you know what I'm saying? And getting off, I got off a little bit early for some reason for my job. I can't remember why, but I took the 4 p.m. train back to Haddonfield from Center City. And it was like a fall day, just kind of crisp fall day again, another cobalt blue sky, a beautiful, beautiful freaking sun out there. Just it had the smell of fall, the cool crisp of the air. I'll just never forget walking home and just looking at the beauty of the fall trees, a maple tree above. I'll never forget. And I just stopped, because it only took 15 minutes to walk home from the train. This beautiful maple tree with its fall colors was sitting there, and I'll never forget just admiring it. Oh, it's such a feeling of bliss, like God. Oh, man, it makes me feel like crying. Like your nature is so flippin' gorgeous. And I want to enjoy that more. How do I enjoy it more? Well, you enjoy it more by slowing down, taking the time to appreciate. Why is this guy staying in the left lane? Taking the time. See, well, I'm telling you, man. Oh, now this guy right here is going to go right when this guy's right. Taking the time to appreciate. Oh, what are you doing, buddy? Slowing down. Am I slowing down by getting excitable because this idiot is going too slow in the left lane? And now he's being passed by a freaking 18-wheeler on his right? No, I'm not. I'm being like too antsy. What do I do to slow down and appreciate things? I don't know why this guy's not getting over, but if he doesn't, I will pass him on the right, which I don't like doing. He should be putting his sign on, but he's not. So I'm not sure what he's doing, so I guess I will get around him then. If he's not going to, he's not doing okay. So I don't know what he's doing. But even that right there is somewhat stressful. Just, a guy going slow in the left lane, getting passed by 18-wheelers on the right and not getting back, not getting over. That's a sign of, that's not enjoying the moment for what it is. Now, could I have enjoyed the moment still behind him? Sure. But it does make you antsy when other people are behaving in ways that annoy you. So I think the way to get blissfulness said, not let other people behavior annoy you. There's another guy in the right lane, the left lane, just moving like Pokemon. Or just to kind of find a humor in it. You see what I'm saying? Like, you know, I was on Facebook the other day, and I actually like being back on Facebook, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's fun. And some idiot Arab lady posted something on, you know, she's Arab, and she goes, I'm worried. I don't know if she's Muslim or Christian, maybe Jewish, I don't know. Maybe atheist, I don't know. She goes, I'm worried, I'd love to go to Maine, because I'm on some Maine Facebook group. I'd love to go to Maine, but I'm worried people are gonna be racist. And so I posted back and said, why? What, you think just because Maine is 95% white, they're going to be racist? I said, sister, you got some work to do on your own racism. You know what I'm saying? Because essentially, the reason she's worried about them being racist is because they're white. That's literally being the definition of racism. She never met these people. She thinks they're racist simply because they're white. And then she emailed back, why are you attacking me? I just want to make sure I fit in. Said people won't yell at me. I can't remember what she said. I just kind of laughed at her. I said, lady, the irony of all ironies is that, because she wanted to go to Portland, Maine. I said, if you're a Muslim Christian or an Arab Christian or Muslim, you'll fit in better with people outside of Portland, because Portland is so socially liberal that if you're true to your Arab roots, as we are not to our own Christian roots, by the way, which we need to be as Christians, you won't fit in with the 57 Flavors crowd in Portland. That's just a fact. A jack. Now, they might give you lip service like, oh, we love all people. Yeah, you start protesting the 57 Flavors, they're not going to love you anymore. And I said, that's why a lot of us on the right find more aligned with the Dearborn, Michigan crowd than we do with the Portland, Maine crowd or the Boston and San Francisco. And she wrote back, I haven't followed. So then I realized, though, and it hit me after listening to Matt's video, I realized I was being sucked into it. That the world has put a lady in there to kind of tick me off, where I had to respond. I said, oh, this is what's happening. They want to draw me in to waste good time, you know, debating this lady or whatever, you know, serving with this lady, and, you know, to show. I said, that's what's happening. The world as it is, you know, the evil that exists in this world are saying, Josh, you're so smart, we need you to paddle back against this lady to show her up. I said, that's what's going on. They drove me back to Facebook so I can waste good time arguing with some clown lady who might not even exist. Might just be a bot that's trying to bring me back in to spend more time on Facebook, spend more time on doing things that don't bring bliss in my life. Doesn't mean, oh, man, I showed her. That doesn't bring bliss in my life. What brings bliss in my life? Literally smelling the flowers. Seeing that Maine, New Hampshire points north. Looking at the maple tree on a crisp sunny day, a crisp fall day. You know, leaving ETSing from the Army and recognizing, man, bliss is in here. I got to find it in here. And it's not by challenging some fools who are racist to show them that they're the racist ones, not us. You see what I'm saying? For me, that's how I find bliss. It just hit me like a ton of bricks because this video that Matt showed. He goes, bliss is here. Find it internally. Will I always have it? No, I just showed you. I got frustrated behind a guy who's going in the left lane at Pokemon. Just poking along in the left lane. Allowing other people to take me away from my blissfulness is as a satanic. I need to develop my own blissfulness by finding it internally. And bliss is found internally. You find it. Like, what makes me happy? It's fall. I love fall, dude. Love it. Love it like, I can't even tell you. Now, fall in Georgia is different than fall in Maine. Now, fall in Georgia is great, but it's like a month too late, man. It's a month too late. You see what I'm saying? Because the fall, the way I'm born, where I was born in Maine, look, I'm just yapping myself. No one's here, I get you. I don't care. I just had to get this off my chest. The noise is probably bad anyway. But the fall in Maine, it leads to Halloween, essentially. You know what I'm saying? So it ends at Halloween. And then it starts transitioning to the wintertime. And Thanksgiving is truly a time for thanks of everything you had from up until that point, that you were able to survive the previous winter to celebrate a summer into the fall. Halloween was the epitome of the ending of the fall. Now the cold season's coming, and now Thanksgiving is your way to kind of, get your food in, because you're going to be hibernating because the wintertime is coming. It's already there. It's cold, it's dreary, but it's a last gasp of being thankful before the wintertime comes. And when the wintertime comes, it's going to be brutal. And that Thanksgiving's last gasp. And that's what makes it so blissful. It's like, man, I know winter's here. I know it's dark. I know it's cold. I know it's gray. I'm going to enjoy this last gasp of nothingness. I don't have to do anything until the wintertime comes. And I have to do it because, after this, it's, the first snow will happen. It'll be beautiful and all that. But that's a sign of what will lay ahead, which is cold, dark, dreary, and you got to deal with that. But what happens is once you're done with that, once you start seeing the green, the rose bushes, the first flowers, I don't know, the lilacs or something like that popping up, the smell, the snow melting. Again, the baseball season starting. Being from Maine, baseball always meant you survived the winter. They always go to Florida for spring training or Arizona. But then when the first pitch happened, winter was behind you. It's still cold, still dreary, but man, what a blissful. It wasn't quite the same because, for me, baseball meant you survived. Can't stress that enough. But that's why Thanksgiving was such a blissful, because it said winter is here now. Enjoy this last gasp while you have it, because you're not going to get it again for about 4 more months come baseball season. That doesn't mean, Christmas isn't blissful and all that, but it is dark, it's dreary, it's cold. And if you're poor, it sucks, dude, because you're not getting as many presents as your friends, if you get any at all. You see what I'm saying? You're going to find some hard times in the wintertime. You might be cold in your home because your mom couldn't afford to fill up the oil, the boiler with oil and whatnot. But just hang in there, because once the first pitch happens, you'll be back. I tell you, man, it's something about that. And then you're back, and you're like, oh, the bliss is back. Something about the seasons that just bring the joy. Because remember, I hate to say you can't have happiness without sadness, but I don't think you can. That's why I don't want everyone to live in San Diego. I think having all the time perfect weather, that would drive me insane. It kind of did in Phoenix. The sun was out all the time, and you don't enjoy it as much because you're like, the sun is always out. I know there are people who need the sun, but if the sun is always out, then you forget what it's like when the sun comes out after you've had the sun hidden for a couple months. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. Find your bliss. Think about when you had bliss. And think about it. If you want to put in the comments, I'd love to hear it, man. I'd love to hear it. No, it's not the bliss of the babies for your first baby. No, that's wonderful. That's not a bliss. That's a wonderful. The silliness of evolution that baby came from a freaking primordial soup, and it's just so freaking stupid. The silliness of evolution, the wonders of just a future. That's for me. I've had 4. I was there all the time. Loved it. Loved having my babies. That's not blissful. That doesn't mean it's not happy. I'm totally happy. It freaking brought huge tears to my eye. It's not blissful though, at least for me. And it wasn't blissful like graduating college or anything like that. It's some kind of celebratory event. No, it's not for me. For me, it's so simple. It's so harmonious. That's not even really planned for. It just happens. You just spell it, and you love it. And you say, man, I want that to happen again. And I don't think you can just say, happen again. But I think you can get closer to that by recognizing what the evil thing in this that controls this world, satanic, is putting in front of you. And then recognizing how to deal with it, which is recognizing it's being put in front of you. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for its evil ways. Reject Satan. Embrace Jesus. And embrace the simple things in your life. And slow down. Love your thoughts. We'll see you.